Friday, December 29th, and this is Friday 5 at 5 with the Denver Public Library. My name is Dodie. I'm a librarian at DPL's Central Library, and in 15 minutes or less, we'll have you up to speed on 5 new titles out this month that we can't wait for you to read or listen to. Please note that new titles may not be added to Overdrive until after publication date, so if you don't see the titles in ebook or e-audio format, please check back. January means Winter of Reading. Join us for our Winter of Reading launch party on January 6th from 1 to 5 p.m. Learn about the 2024 Winter of Reading program, sign up for a library card, make buttons, and join us for trivia from 3 to 4. Fiction Beer will be brewing a custom beer for us, Book Nook Spiced Cream Ale. Get more information about the event and Winter of Reading at the links below. Is one of your New Year's resolutions to try to save more money in 2024? Denver Public Library has a very special gift for you: free museum and cultural passes. Library passes are offered in limited quantities by participating institutions. Many also offer free days and other low-cost options for community access. A few highlights: Denver Museum of Nature and Science allows 7 attendees on a single pass. That's a savings of over $150. Looking for an indoor place to cut the kids loose on a cold, snowy day? Wings Over the Rockies is a perfect destination, and your free museum passes for 4 will keep close to $80 in your own pocket. And now, on to the books. Curse Breakers by Madeline Nakamura is a novel as electric as the lightning bolt magic its protagonist wields, filled with curses, destruction, and piercing heartache. It follows Professor Adrien Defourneau, who finds himself entangled in the life-threatening position of preventing a magical coup linked to a rapidly increasing number of comatose victims, while he is experiencing a significant flare-up of his bipolar disorder symptoms. Not only are the intricate magic systems explained with wondrous clarity in this fantasy, but the concepts hold so much beauty, meaning, and political truth. The story hits a lot of beats: exceptional mental illness and addiction representation, casual queerness, and found family leaning so strongly into loyalty that it tends towards murderous. This novel is a razor-sharp depiction of the support required to manage addiction recovery and life with a mental illness, an ode to true, enduring friendship, and a call to believe in our capacity for good. Covering 250 years, The Many Daughters of Afong Moy by Jamie Ford traces the way states of consciousness involve extreme moments of pain or joy, interconnect 7 generations of Chinese women. Embedded images, airplanes, ships, waves, and the occasional ghostly vision highlight how these women's lives reverberate as the focus moves back and forth in time. Folklore by Angela Mi Young-her centers on a Korean-American physicist with a postdoc position in Stockholm who is grappling with the real and imagined ghost of her family's past. The American Girl dolls came around when I was past the age of being interested in dolls, but it always seemed like there was a kid I knew with all the American Girl dolls, or an adult that felt the need to collect them. And they always seemed to be set up in one single, some might say creepy, room that somehow belonged to the dolls. And since the 1980s, they have been an American cultural force, problematic parts included. If your interest is piqued, pick up a copy of Dolls of Our Lives, Why We Can't Quit American Girl by Mary Mahoney and Allison Horrocks. The authors are fun and irreverent, but not disrespectful, and they do call the company to task for past choices that wouldn't be made today. They also delve into the origins of the brand, ponder what Pleasant & Company expected to come from their creations, and explore what has actually come from it as the American Girl audience has grown up. Is it possible that these dolls have lives, choices, and worldviews? And how has the perspective of an American Girl doll owner changed from the vantage point of adulthood? The authors, who run the Dolls of Our Lives podcast, use their knowledge as professional historians and finely tuned instincts as amateur pop culture critics to take you back to a very different time, the 1990s. One in a Millennial on Friendship, Feelings, Fangirls, and Fitting In by Kate Kennedy is a laugh-out-loud book filled with keen observations. The pop culture commentator and host of the millennial-focused podcast Be There in 5 both celebrates and criticizes the culture that shaped her as a woman, tackling AOL Instant Messenger, American Girl dolls, Spice Girl feminism, millennial motherhood, and more. Packed with fascinating case studies, scientific analysis, and takeaways for living in a modern and ever-so-material world, The Things We Love by Aaron Ahuvia offers a truly original and insightful look into our love for inanimate objects and how better understanding these relationships can enrich and improve our lives. So I couldn't resist doing this book, Chasing Dolls of Our Lives. In Kids Run the Show by Delphine de Vigan, the doll in question is a kidfluencer. The story follows the split perspectives of two people, Melanie, a family-focused social media influencer, and Clara, a detective, as they both react to the sudden vanishing of Melanie's young daughter. The first time that Melanie met Clara, Melanie was stunned by Clara's sense of authority, and Clara was struck by Melanie's pink, glittery nails, which shimmered in the dark. She looks like a doll, thought Clara. Clara is a focused cop with a family history and an inability of letting people behind her walls, while Melanie is a former reality television reject whose romantic idealism has metastasized into a saccharine online persona, finding validation the only way she can, through the projected image of being a perfect mother. What really elevates this page-turner are its political urgency and psychological depth. De Vigan digs into both protagonists' histories, unpacking the origins of their opposing attitudes towards social media. Traversing the Big Brother generation, the social media influencer generation, and right up to the 2030s, Delphine de Vigan offers a bone-chilling expose of a world where everything is broadcasted and profited from, even family happiness. Romyhausmann's novel, Dear Child, has been billed as Room meets Gone Girl for its combination of mother and kids locked up in a hidey hole with dueling, often dissimulating, unreliable narrators. Please Tell Me by Mike Omer is an edge-of-your-seat thriller with lots of twists and turns. A young girl is abducted and is missing. Then she is found walking on the side of the road barefoot a year later, unable to talk. What happened to her during those years? Who abducted her? Through play and recreating scenes in her dollhouse, Catherine reveals a horrifying picture to her therapist and detective, who now must find and stop this criminal. We tend not to talk about books and war in the same breath. One ranks among humanity's greatest inventions, the other among its most terrible. But as esteemed literary historian Andrew Pettigrew demonstrates, the two are deeply intertwined. The Book at War explores the various roles that books have played in conflicts throughout the globe. Winston Churchill used a travel guide to plan the invasion of Norway. Lonely families turned to libraries while their loved ones were fighting in the trenches, and during the Cold War, both sides used books to spread their visions of how the world should be run. As solace or instruction manual, as critique or propaganda, books have shaped modern military history, for both good and ill. This is not only an interesting account of the importance of books and readers during conflicts, but also how feared books can be by governments and how countries react to such fears. With precise historical analysis and sparkling prose, The Book at War accounts for the power and the ambivalence of words at war. Anyone who cares about books, what they are more than what a particular volume might contain, will relish Keith Houston's The Book, a cover-to-cover exploration of the most powerful object of our time. Incorporating history, detective work, mechanical engineering, archaeology, chemistry, animal husbandry, monasticism, metalsmithing, and so many other subjects, the author has composed a love poem to, quote, the quiet apex predator that won out over clay tablets, papyrus scrolls, and wax writing boards. 1,000 Books to Read Before You Die, A Life-Changing List by Jim Mustick deserves a prominent place on the shelf of any serious reader. Those of us who have spent our lives reading books, writing about books, collecting volumes, sometimes at an alarming rate only to suffer anxiety once we realize we literally need more space to breathe, will take this book to heart. And shameless plug, Denver Public Library will be hosting Jim on January 19th for a virtual Battle of the Books to celebrate our 2024 Winter of Reading program. 5 Denver celebrities will be proposing their own titles to be included on the 1,000 Books list. More details on Battle of the Books 2024 at the link below. This richly evocative debut novel opens with Moji, a young girl growing up in a family uprooted by the terror of an Islamic revolution, where her culture, gender, and education are in peril. She is living in Tehran, Iran. She and her younger sister, Marmar, love spending time with their grandfather, Aga Jun, listening to the fascinating stories in 1001 Nights. But it is 1979, and Iran is on the brink of a tumultuous revolution to overthrow the monarchy. With her home and family in danger, Moji unknowingly views history in the making. A cultural and societal shift that will forever change her lives is underway. But with these changes, she also endures what her role as a girl means in post-revolution Iran. Eventually, her family travels to the United States, where she meets with racism. Through the years, she shares all that her family have endured between societal and cultural pressures. The House on Sun Street by Mohjan Gazarad follows Moji's experiences during this time. She witnesses how her family members react to the revolution and navigates milestones typical of a preteen girl. Semi-autobiographical in nature, Gazarad weaves memories of her childhood into the fictional storyline of Moji. This authentic story will leave the reader contemplating politics, war, puberty, religion, and more. The Song of a Captive Bird is a spellbinding debut novel about the trailblazing Iranian poet Farooq Farrokhzad, who defied society's expectations to find her voice and her destiny. Inspired by her verse, letters, and interviews, and including original translations of her poems, this haunting story uses the lens of fiction to capture the tenacity, spirit, and conflicting desires of a brave woman who represents the birth of feminism in Iran. Arya by Nazanin Hozar is a coming-of-age fiction debut which revolves around an Iranian woman entangled in romance and politics. Arya was abandoned by her parents as a baby and grew up in a series of households, often abused and neglected. When she falls in love with her friend, Hamlet, she is swept into the political upheaval taking place in Tehran. Readers meet Arya in different stages of her life, from an unruly young girl to a benevolent woman. While the work's many timelines overlap, Hozar's writing keeps the storyline clear, and readers will be rooting for Arya all the way through. Unruly. You think you know the kings and queens of England? Think again. In Unruly, British comedian David Mitchell explores how early England's monarchs, while acting as feared rulers, firmly guiding their subjects' destinies, were in reality a bunch of lucky bastards who were most likely as silly and weird in real life as they appear to us today in their portraits. Taking us right back to King Arthur, he didn't exist, Mitchell tells the founding story of post-Roman England right up to the reign of Elizabeth I. She dies, as the monarchy began to lose its power. It's a tale of bizarre and curious ascensions, inadequate self-control, and at least one total knut as the English evolved from having their crops stolen by the thug with the largest armed gang to bowing and paying taxes to a divinely anointed king. How this happened, who it happened to, and why the hell it matters are all questions Mitchell answers with brilliance, wit, and the full erudition of a man who once studied history and is damned if he'll let it off the hook for the mess it's made of everything. Spoiler, Mitchell is not a big fan of the monarchy, but he does get to the root of why it's there, the purpose it served, and its association with national identity. It is an immensely entertaining read, filled with facts and Mitchell's trademark snarky asides. Gareth Russell peels back the gilded curtain to explore the life of Elizabeth Bowes Lyon, lovingly known as the Queen Mother, in his latest biography, Do Let's Have Another Drink, the singular wit and double measures of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. The stories in this book range from utterly hysterical to gut-wrenching, with every other emotion in between. Shortest Story of England, Empire and Division from the Anglo-Saxons to Brexit, a retelling for our time, by Jim James Oz is a fresh, modern exploration of 2,000 years of English history, tracing the roots and consequences of the nation's north-south divide from the Roman and Norman conquest to the Industrial Revolution to World War II and on to the present crisis of nationalism versus liberal democracy. That's all for this month. Thank you for tuning in to Denver Public Library's 5 at 5, and we hope you enjoy these great reads and listens. Check out or place a hold on these titles and a whole lot more right now at denverlibrary.org, link below. Tune in next month for new recommended reads. Bye!